Welcome back to the Geek Show Arcade.
That's
Sloppy seconds.
Whoa,
Sloppy
hey.
seconds.
What are
This
you
is a
talking
great
about?
show.
You mean saving the
what
best
that
for
means?
last?
I don't think that's what you mean. You know what I think that means.
That's exactly what I meant.
That's what I figured. This is the Geek Show Arcade, where we talk about games and gaming-related things. Let's kick it off by introducing our panelists. To my podcast right, we have Jaren.
And that's what I say to my kids. Oh, that joke was too late. I'm sorry. I'm on
yeah,
Twitter at Jaren.
I don't even know what I was referring to.
Sloppy seconds. Never mind.
Oh, that was way late.
Wow. And it was off your own joke.
I know.
Can't do that.
That's why it was even better.
I'll allow it.
All right, moving along. Next to Jaren, we got Lando.
It's Lando. Find me on the Twitters or the Threads, which, although after recording Help Desk, I may be getting off Threads soon.
Too bad. You already signed to the EULA, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, hey, update on that. You can't actually delete your Threads account ever unless you also delete your Instagram account forever.
It's tied to it.
Tied to it.
That's why
Just
you
a-
can just make
just
it
a
off
heads
of
up.
the other one.
But go ahead, you can deactivate
All right, well,
it.
just, I mean,
Give it a
I'm in
shot.
now.
Just give it a shot.
Anyway, I'm on Threads, Lando.Conover. I'm going to try and post more Gadget Show, Help Desk, and arcade stuff there. So if you were interested in me doing that, go follow me there.
Nice. And underneath Lando, we have Owen.
Hey there. Follow me on Twitter at Techno, and I'm still there. I don't really do a lot of other social media, so that's
There you
it.
go. Next to Owen, we got James.
What's up, guys? You can catch me here or everywhere. JDD Jensen is the name. And above me, to my upper right, your left, our host. He used to have red hair. Now,
And then I
Nope.
shaved it all off.
Tony.
Thank you. Check me
Good
out on
credit.
Twitter at Quad T Tony. That was a really good introduction there, James. Great job.
I could pull up your
let's-
introduction from 2016 if you'd like me to.
Maybe another time. Maybe another time. Not this time though. Don't pull it up. Stop
Can't hear
stop
you,
pulling
I'm
it.
doing it.
The camera moved down so it can see you looking on your phone. It's automatic.
Yeah, well, it's on my
put some
phone.
pants on.
I tweeted it a while ago.
You know this goes on the YouTubes now,
Ironically.
right, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
all-
see everything. This is all recorded.
Yeah.
James, take off your shirt.
No, don't do that.
I know he wants to. That look. That. Yep.
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. At this point, we usually
he's successful.
do a shout out to our awesome Patreon backers, but we are moving that to the end of the episode so we can get into the meaty potato part, the meat and potatoes. There we go.
Nailed it.
Part of the show, but we do really appreciate you, Patreon backers, and we will shout out to you at the end of the episode. Next, we have emails. If we have any emails, do we have emails?
We got two.
Nice.
We got one from Craig. He says, "Greetings, Geek Show Arcade. Have you all heard of the Powkitty X55 for playing retro games?" So this is like one of those Android-powered cheapo game systems you can buy to emulate.
Handhelds? Okay.
Yeah, yep, to emulate other past systems.
Cool.
And this one is on sale right now for $85, and it looks decent enough.
$85 I don't think qualifies as cheapo. That's on sale for $85. That's
Well, it's
that's
a
investing-
larger it's a larger unit. It's not small like Owen's.
Yeah, the Pocket Go that I have.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a second.
So
it
I mean, it's a Powkitty X55.
POW?
Yeah, POW. It's pretty much brand new, so it's hard to say like if it'll hold up over time or not. But the
5
good
inch.
brands out there are the Ein Odin. That's a bit more expensive though, around $200. They have different models out there. Anbernic is also a really well-known brand
Yeah, I've
that
heard of
puts
Anbernic.
out some good stuff. They're a bit more expensive, but I would check out Anbernic or the Ein Odin if you can handle that kind of cost. If not, if you want to make a gamble on the Powkitty, I mean, they're kind of all the same device, essentially. They
This
all
one
run
looks like-
Android. They
It looks pretty like it's got an actual semi-ergonomic shape, so that's good. It's got an IPS screen, so that's good.
It's very small on the RAM, so you're not going to be emulating more current systems, I would
Yeah,
think.
it says down here that it's good for like everything from Game Boy up to PSP with
Nintendo
N64
64.
in the middle. You'll probably be fine with the N64 stuff, but that I bet you is the upper limits of its emulation capabilities. So, but everything underneath the Game Boy stuff, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, I'll bet that all runs like a treat on there. So,
I'm curious, how does one get legal ROMs in that for those emulation systems? Because my understanding is those guys aren't selling those. I mean, if you buy them in the store, in the shop, like Nintendo or on the handheld shop, fine. But how do you
actually have a
acquire
story about this? Owen,
ooh,
let's just go right. Let's go right into it, and we'll come back to the emails after this.
all right.
There was a story on Kotaku. An alarming 87% of retro games.
You stole it, you jerk.
No, my show notes right
Keep it
before
going.
yours. Anyway,
Let the anger grow.
87% of
stories
retro
now.
games are being lost to time.
It's gone, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Harumph.
like
That was a good story too.
tears and rain.
Yes, Blade Runner quote. Yes.
There you
Take
go,
that,
Tony.
Twyman.
Take
Yeah.
that, Lando.
Take that, Twyman.
Yeah, so this is a big problem in the movie industry, even like in the TV industry as well. Like things have been pretty well preserved. If you want to see a movie from the, well,
It depends on how far back you want to go and what the medium was. If it was TV or movies. Movies, yes.
movies the best for
but
sure.
TV in the like 60s and 70s and up into the 80s, when everything was shown live, they would record it and then have it until they needed more tape, and they would just record over stuff with
This
old
is
tape.
before the Library of Congress and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for
like
that
but back
reason
in the '60s, there were some Doctor Who episodes that were lost.
exactly, because they
yeah.
would just record over the tapes, as an example.
It's
But
bananas
Yeah.
to me that's the thing. So
I
like
know.
all those old Doctor Who episodes, they have like pictures, but they still have the audio, and so
Yeah.
they would just put up the picture and play the audio.
It's
weird.
crazy.
Yeah. So the quote from here from VGHF co-director Kelsey Lewin, they wrote, for accessing early 9 and 10 classic games, there are a few options. Seek out and maintain vintage collectible games and hardware, travel across the country to visit a library, or piracy.
Yep.
None of those options are desirable, which means
Yep.
most video games are inaccessible to all but the most diehard and dedicated fans. That's pretty grim. And so, Owen, to answer your question, there is no way, unless you have very special hardware to download a ROM off of a
Yeah.
cartridge.
Yeah,
You just can't do it unless you download it from the internet.
I think that my next follow-up question then how are these handhelds, like we just started talking about, how are these devices profitable to them when most of the people can't get the ROMs that you would emulate on the system?
What do you mean can't get the ROMs? All you got to do is go to the Pirate Bay.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
all
piracy.
there.
Like,
Be
but,
careful.
But they're legally selling the system, knowing that you're going to illegally have to go get the ROMs.
Oh, they know 100%.
Yeah, but
You know,
that's
right?
not their
they-
problem.
That's not their problem, you know.
right.
I mean, fertilizer companies sell ammonium nitrate knowing that it can be used for nefarious reasons, but it also has the specific use that it was made for, which is fertilizer.
What's the specific use for the console? Because you can't really play anything on without the ROMs.
Homebrew stuff.
Okay.
There's homebrew ROMs out there for sure.
Okay. Oh, for sure. Okay.
Moving on. Imagine if the only way to watch Titanic was to find a used VHS tape and maintain your own vintage equipment so that you could still
Yeah.
watch it.
Stupid Titanic fan.
And what if no library, not even the Library of Congress, could do any better? They could keep and digitize that VHS of Titanic, but you'd have to go all the way there to watch it. It sounds crazy, but that's the reality we live in with games. A $180 billion industry, while their games and their history disappear. And part of the problem is the ESA. What do they stand for again?
Energy Solutions Arena.
It's the Delta Center now, man.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the
Probably
industry.
like Electronic Software Association or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'll buy
Anyway,
it.
they oppose the exemptions in law that would allow for preservation of video games. They say that it would hurt their industry too much to let us play games from 40 years ago that no one sells anymore.
Yeah, see, that's crap.
It's total crap. It's the Entertainment Software Association. There we go.
I was fairly close.
So I wonder. So I wonder if the original developers of the code have to still have a copy somewhere themselves. though,
No.
right? Like a backup.
No.
Yeah, they
There's a
don't even have-
lot of these old games that the source code was just
gone.
Delete it to make room
All
on
you
the hard
have,
drive.
and there's a community out there I know that is trying to reverse engineer a lot of these games based on the cartridge. So because
Right.
they get themselves a hold of the cartridge and try and reverse engineer it. That's how we got Mario. I think a Mario one.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, and then
Well, and speedrunners do that a lot too to help try and find glitches and things in the code.
yeah.
Yep.
But that's,
yeah.
I guess that's an interesting question when you're thinking about these handhelds. Yeah, you're gonna go buy some handhelds, but unless it's something like the ROG Ally, which you can also play legitimate games on because it's powerful enough to use Steam or whatever, or the
Right.
Steam Deck, like you
Well-
also have to know that you're going to be going to have to go find ROMs from it somewhere.
That's where the
You know.
gray area of ROMs exist.
If
where-
you bought the game, right?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
own the physical copy of the game, it's a gray area whether or not owning or downloading a pirated version of it is legal or
Right.
illegal.
Because basically you're
And-
bypassing the requirement to go get that specialized hardware, right? Like because if you had that specialized hardware, you wouldn't feel bad about taking it back up so you could play it digitally.
Well,
Right.
in my opinion, like Tears of the Kingdom, I own that game. I own a Switch. I would not feel one bit bad about using the ROM
Emulating on
on
some
a
other-
desktop.
Doing an
Yeah.
emulator, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They say that the ESA has consistently lobbied against game preservation efforts, such as copyright permissions and allowing the rental of digital video games.
That sucks.
That's wild.
Who
Yeah.
cares what they want?
Yeah,
What
it's
about what
just
we want?
It's crazy because that is. I don't care what anyone says. Video games are a legitimate art form.
They're an art
right?
form, right? Yeah.
And the fact that these, I don't know, authority figures, I guess you'd say, don't care about preserving this art
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
is wild.
It's
crazy.
weird to me. It just
With-
seems like we're listening to people that like on their resume they should post what games they played last just to show that they care.
Yeah,
Right.
if you want to be a part of the ESA,
Yeah.
you have to tell us what games you play.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if you don't
you-
play any games, you have no business working here.
Yeah. I wonder if that is a real. I wonder if that is if it isn't. That's a miss on these
Yeah.
game developer resume requirements. Like, what's the last game you played? You know, on.
Oh, I
for
guarantee that
Ubisoft or-
it's just what degree do you
Activision.
have and what's your prior
Right.
experience, all this
Prior
bull crap.
yep.
We should have access to their Steam library. What's their preferences of games?
Where
Do they log the majority of their hours?
Yeah, where's the visibility? Where's the accountability?
And then make an algorithm to be
Yeah.
like, oh, look at their backlog. They obviously don't have enough time. They're such a hard worker that they don't have enough time to play. So that's a good thing. Hire them.
All we have is a bunch of aging out dingbacks that call it Pokemon like an a-hole. We all know it's Pokemon, okay? That's how you know somebody's an a-hole. And, they just don't know. Okay? They don't know.
Yeah,
Some
you
of these
tell 'em.
games, who owns the rights to some of these games? If companies have gone bankrupt decades ago,
Yeah, that's
that part
good.
kind of makes sense to one degree. But if no one owns the games, then why can't we?
Then it should go
Distribute
into
them.
common knowledge or whatever.
Yeah,
Sherlock
yeah.
Holmes in common,
And-
whatever.
I'll think of it. Keep
Common
going, though.
common domain.
Common domain, something
No,
like that.
that's not right either.
No, it's
Public domain.
Public.
Public, yeah,
domain.
that's it. That's it.
Public.
and games where companies still do exist. Why don't they sell them? People would buy those
They could
if
still
they
make
were
money on
priced
these.
appropriately. Mm-hmm. Just put out, bundle it in with an emulator.
I've said it
and
before.
Distribute it.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Make the content easy for me to get to, and I will pay for it.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
key is it has to be easy and affordable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Easy.
don't
Look at-
charge
look
me
at the music
$60
industry.
for a game that was back
Right.
in the 90s.
It has to be priced appropriately.
Yep.
You know.
And
Yeah.
if you
Look
want to
at-
go,
Yeah.
if you
You
want to
got
go scratch that nostalgic itch, there are some sites out there that they've gotten the games up onto the website. You can go play them.
Playing in
Because
the
a lot of-
browser.
A lot
Yeah.
playing in the browser because a lot of times too the hardware we have now is just no longer compatible to play those games, and so there's a bunch out there like retro games, oldgamesdownload.com. I spent an hour or more just wandering through there being like, oh yeah, that game Load Runner, what a great game.
Oh, I love
Phenomenal game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's in there. I played the
The Incredible Machine 2.
yeah, there's all
That game's
sorts of
great.
just go in there. They call it abandonware is what
Yeah.
that's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Once the company's gone out of business and it's just nowhere.
Nobody knows who owns the rights to it.
Right.
Nobody's
So-
claiming it. You know.
It should go into
Yeah.
public
Well-
domain. we should all vote and say Steam gets it for free. Steam should have a public domain section
They should.
along with the Steam Workshop. You should be able to
Hey,
mod it.
that's a really good idea, James.
Boom.
Yes.
You should work for Steam.
But what's
Yes.
the legal
How would
process?
Steam
What's
make
the
any-
legal process for ownership when the
Don't
owner's
know.
dead? You know,
That's James's problem. When he
Just
works
take
for
the
Steam.
American legal system, which, as somebody who's experienced it, let me tell you what it is. It's give it here.
Give me that.
possession.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
There you go.
The only problem is how would Steam
Yes.
make any money on that? Because they'd be public domain, which means you can't charge for them.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't matter. It brings
They
people
would
Maybe
just
you
to
do
have,
ours.
they would have,
subscription.
If you're the
it
public
would just
domain
have to be
place.
no. As soon as they make any money off it, they'd have to offer it for free. And
yeah, it'd have to be offered for free. I guess you
Just
could.
as
It
a-
would be
just
an
as a
added
historical-
value to
yeah.
use Steam.
Value
they'd have
add.
to, or they'd have
While
to
you're in the
create-
market.
or,
Or
they'd have
just,
to create a nonprofit arm and accept donations or something.
What I would do is bring the public domain to Steam, open it up to the Steam Workshop for mods, and then people will get used to how modding works, and then they will start working on their own games, which will be listed on Steam because they're used to using the Steam Workshop. It's a cyclical thing.
There you go.
I'm in.
Yes.
Make
Perfect.
it happen.
Figured it out.
All right.
Right. I got to talk to Big Game.
Big Gabe, as in Gabe
I was thinking
Newell.
of like Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, Big Game,
Big Software.
Big Software. I'm going to
All
make
right,
that software hardware if you catch my
Thanks,
drift.
Craig. Thanks, Craig,
Heyo.
for the email. I think the Pal Kitty would be fine if you want to try it out.
Give it a
but,
shot. Yeah. Let us know what you think.
I would.
Yeah, specs aren't that bad, and for the price, it's not that bad at all. Got an email from Lang. He says, "How are my favorite arcadesters? I thought of a fun question to really get to know everyone. A little backstory from where this one is coming from to start. Previously, I was in my first marriage, and at that time, my spouse thought gaming was embarrassing and stupid. So we never really gamed at all for a good 10 years. Now I'm in my last marriage, still trying to catch up on everything I've missed out on.
I like how
I
you
just-
said last marriage.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good one, Mike. I'm using that.
That's
My
good.
last marriage.
I just snagged Half-Life 2 for 99 cents, the
Yeah.
entire Deus Ex collection for $10, and
Nice.
Castle Crashers for $3 during the Steam summer sale. I'm a little
you see
embarrassed
they-
about how behind I am. My question is, are there any games you feel you missed out on or wish you had the chance to try out? Aiming for the GPD Win 4, by the way. And Owen, maybe next time. I think
I
you'll
feel
like
like
the
I missed
GPD
out
Win
on-
4. I'm jealous of that.
So
I
thought,
missed out on the entirety of this SNES, the SNES. That's
Oh,
something that I
I
just
did.
skipped.
I did
There's
too.
so many good games.
It was
There's
really
a whole
There's a
community.
ton of
around
good
it.
games in the SNES.
When he wrote when Lang wrote the other, was it last week or the week before? I think it was last week, talking about the GPD Win 4. I thought he was talking about the GPD Win 4 Max, which is the one that looks like a tiny laptop and has the recessed thumbsticks and everything. That's when I said ergonomically that looks like trash. But the GPD Win 4 is much
It's a
more
slide up, right?
normal looking with a slide up screen that has a keyboard underneath. So
Kind of looks like a Vita.
yeah, that looks a lot more comfortable than the one I was thinking of. Anyway, games that I missed out on. You know what? I missed out on Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights.
Oh, Baldur's Gate was so good, man.
I know. The only one I
missed
ever
out
played
hard on that.
was on PS2, and that was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. And I quite liked that one, but that's not the same as the classic.
Well, and
Baldur's Gate
there is
and
something to be said
Neverwinter
about
Nights.
playing it when it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
because-
I've tried to go back and play like the
And
the
you
remastered
can, it's on your
version,
phone,
like the
but,
souped
like,
up version, exactly on my phone, and I can't get into it.
It's because you're used to like what is like Dragon Quest. I would say is Dragon Quest 2 is probably the closest to like Baldur's Gate in terms of like gameplay, newer graphics, newer user interface. Because Baldur's Gate really was like the original Dungeons and Dragons on the
Yeah.
computer.
Like the
But
first
man, just
Western
LAN party
RPG.
playing, turn play, so good.
Yeah, so I am scratching that itch right now, though. I'm playing through Divinity, the original Divinity Original Sin 2.
I think I have that game. What is that game?
It's like Baldur's Gate, but because the company that makes that, Larian, is finishing up Baldur's Gate 3 right now, and there's a lot of buzz about that. So I figured I should go play that other game that they made, the last one they made, which has crazy high scores. Everyone loves it that I've ever talked to that's played it. It's got like a Metacritic score of 92 or something like that. So I'm really liking that one though so far. It's a lot of fun. Owen, what did you feel like you missed?
What video game did I miss? You know, I missed out on a lot of the GameCube stuff. I
There's
was
some
on my
good stuff on the
I
GameCube.
was on my mission during a big part of that, and so I mean, I'm not sure if I'm remember this correctly. Didn't GoldenEye launch with the GameCube?
64.
64.
Yeah,
It didn't launch with it either.
It was like a year after.
Okay, so
So you missed
oh,
the
yeah.
N64?
yeah, N64. That's the one. Sorry, they're all the same. They're all the same.
Oh,
No,
not even
it was the
close.
N64. Yeah, it was.
You're
the
not
N64.
that old. N64 came out in '96.
I know,
Yeah.
but I didn't play it very much. Like I just played for a
When
couple
were
years,
you?
and I went.
When were you gone?
I was from '99, so
Oh,
That was,
okay.
that was
Yeah.
Dreamcast, and
yeah.
later.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh,
the
you're
game-
so much older than me.
So
the GameCube
Dreamcast.
came out in 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it? Okay.
I think it was one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I came back, and Metroid Prime was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like on the GameCube. So,
Dude, the-
so
So
it was the N64 is a lot of the stuff I played it a little bit of it, but I just like for 2 years of it I was out of it. So
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how many of our listeners. I don't know our LDS served LDS missions. The podcast is based in Utah, so I imagine there's a fair number. But it's like those 2 years don't exist. Like when you're gone, I I kept a list of things I wanted to watch, play, and listen to while I was gone. And you know how
What
much
years
of it
did you go?
04 to 06. And you know how much of it I actually got around
did you
to
ever get back to your backlog?
No.
No.
None of it.
No.
I never played any of those games, never saw hardly any of those movies or TV
There's
shows.
still movies during that time for me that I'm like, I've never even heard of this movie. When did it
Exactly.
come
They were
out?
like
I'm like,
blockbuster
oh,
movies.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just like a void of media for those 2 years that I just don't.
I
You
just
know?
remember feeling so stupid because The Matrix came out while I was out. And
Oh,
I
what a
got back
bummer.
and was like, this is the greatest. How awesome.
Yeah.
And
you were just yelling into an
and
empty
people-
Coke
and
bottle
people were
because
like,
everybody was
"Dude,
already kind of over it.
we're over it, guy. Like,
Yeah.
Dude,
and
so to echo what you were saying, my religiously affiliated vacation was in
yours was a
Madagascar.
vacation?
So it was completely
Mine
opposite
wasn't.
of here. No technology, no connection to anything, completely cut off. I get home. So mine was from 2006 to 2008. And I get home and all of the TVs are now that 9x16. They converted from CRT to that. Everything
Oh.
had the
Text
smooth
while we were
motion
gone,
on it.
text messaging like took off. Like
Yeah, like when we left, iPhones
text messaging when
weren't
I
a
got
thing.
back was like, wait, what? What's this? Why is everyone texting? What's this texting thing everyone's doing?
Everybody was texting, and the Wii had launched when we were out. The PS3 had launched. The Xbox 360 had launched. Modern Warfare was like taking the world by. Modern Warfare 2 was taking the world by storm. Just getting home and like seeing how much the world technologically had changed, it was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
See, and the Wii, dude. I don't think if you didn't, if you weren't like socially aware of how big of an impact the Wii had on just like everybody when it came out, everybody
Yeah.
was bowling. And the only other time that I can remember in history that video games have brought people that together was Pokemon. Do you guys
Pokemon Go.
remember how
Yeah,
that was
totally.
like
go.
height
Remember
of
that?
humanity?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
You know,
Yep. Jaron, what did you feel like you missed out on?
Well, we were a Sega family, so I missed out on many Nintendo things. First Nintendo was a GameCube. So yeah, that was probably it.
My first Nintendo was a 64. It was the best.
That was my
I'm
first one.
weirded
too.
out that Jaron never played Ocarina of Time when it came out.
Yeah, I just have no interest in that game.
That's what I mean. Like sometimes you're not there for the debut of whatever the media
Yeah.
is, and there's just no going back to it.
Yep.
Like
we
I've
peaked at-
tried to play it on a ROM, but it's just
Oh well,
it's old and
Yeah.
can't do it.
even with the nostalgia glasses I have, I don't think I
Yeah,
could go back
it's
and play
hard.
through it again. I tried when it got ported to the 3DS and
Yeah.
upresed a little bit, and even then, I only played for about an hour, and I was just like, I'm gonna go play
Neat.
something new.
Yeah.
Nostalgia's like satisfied. So it's
Exactly.
Like, neat. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried playing Majora's Mask and I made it to the second temple and Heart Pass.
That game sucks anyway.
Just it was just so much smaller of a world than I thought.
yes,
yeah.
100%. I remember coming back to Ocarina of Time and realizing this is way smaller than when I played it originally on the N64. I thought
Felt
the world
huge.
was absolutely enormous.
You would hop on Epona and you would ride around Hyrule Field and just think.
Yeah,
just
this
think
is
about
so
stuff.
big.
Yeah.
And then later, I think after I went back to it, like things like Grand Theft Auto 3 had already come out and stuff like that. And I go back to Ocarina of Time and I'm like, this is a tiny baby game. What is this?
Itty bitty little game.
Yep. All right. Well, is that
And what's
the end?
crazy is the Grand Theft Auto 3 came out in 2001,
Yeah.
and Ocarina of Time, when did that come out?
99, I want to say.
That's crazy. 2 years.
98.
98. Yeah.
3 years.
Well,
Can you
That's
imagine?
bonkers.
Let's go on another tangent ride for just a second. The graphical and technological leap from the N64 and PlayStation to the GameCube and PlayStation 2 was something that we will never see again in our lives.
It was wild.
It was absolutely mind-blowing to go from 64 to GameCube. The graphical fidelity and the things that you could do in the gameplay was just so crazy compared to the N64.
Bonkers.
And that is no one that was ever born after us will ever know what that feeling was like either, because they will always have good graphics and good gameplay
Is that the-
possibilities.
Greatest graphical leap we've ever seen in a console generation?
I would venture yes. I would say that the only thing that would come close to would be going from Super Nintendo to N64.
Yeah, I was gonna say that feels
because
bigger
you
to
went
me.
from 2D to 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some 2D though on
Yeah,
Super
but
Nintendo.
do you remember the first time
and
you
Sega
saw
Genesis.
Mario 64? I remember the first time I saw Mario 64. I still, to this day, remember that day.
Yeah.
At a friend's house. I remember I didn't even know it was a thing until I saw it at his house. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is
See, I'm
this?
coming at that from a different perspective because I was a PC gamer back then.
Yeah.
And so, like, Mario 64, while it was okay at the time, like, I had other 3D games that I played, like Jedi Knight.
Right. So you
Oh,
were
Jedi
more
Knight
used to
was so good.
you were more used to that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah,
I
if
was
you were
pretty young.
if you were if you were only a console gamer, this was mind blowing to go from 2D to 3D. There was a little bit of 3D on the SNES. Maybe like I don't know, just a handful of games. There
But,
was
like, the
some of
3D
them
on
used
the
the
SNES
advanced
was
chips
like-
on the carts too, like that Star
yeah,
Fox game.
Super FX chips. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the SNES, we're talking like it was what was that? Like Mario Kart was like its version of 3D.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
like
I mean,
it was okay.
You
The-
had Star Fox. There was a port of Doom that looked
yeah,
pretty good.
The Star Fox cartridge had that Super FX chip, and it actually had polygons.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
your Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo was sprite based only. So yeah, it was. But yeah, I would still say that's a very close second. But I would still say the jump from 64 to GameCube was just. It was mind blowing because you already had an idea of what to expect. You're like, oh, okay, we're gonna go from 3D to 3D, so that's probably gonna be pretty cool. And then they showed it, and it was like, holy cow! Like I remember the first time I saw Rogue Squadron 2 for the GameCube, and I was just watching it
remember that.
thinking, I'm gonna play a Star Wars. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
an
I'm gonna
X-Wing
make my
fighter.
own story. This is great.
And it was just the first time they and this game never came out, but the first time they showed a Zelda demo on the GameCube hardware, it was the same art style as Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but just way better looking,
Smoother,
way better
right.
looking. And I remember seeing that and thinking, that is amazing, and graphics will never get better looking than that in ever. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then they scrapped that and went with Wind Waker and made
Wind Waker was
everybody mad
amazing.
because of the cell shading. That was
But
a
then
good
they
game,
played
though,
the game,
still.
and then everybody's
Yeah.
just like, "This game's awesome."
It was good stuff.
No, Twilight Princess was kind of in that vein though, and it
Twilight
was
Princess rode the
meant to
middle.
be for GameCube. But
Yeah.
it came out on Wii. Did it come
So-
out on GameCube?
It came out on both. Twilight
Okay.
Princess came out on both. So, anyway, that was another tangent. Wow, we're going to spend most of this episode
Man,
just talking about
we can. Do you want to
video
do my
game memories.
my special game for you guys? You want to get into that?
Let's do that.
In the video
let's-
game.
Let's do that right after we talk about the big news. We do need to make sure that we hit on this big news.
Yes, we do.
That the Microsoft and FTC lawsuit showdown has concluded, and the judge has ruled in favor of Microsoft. something.
Wow.
If anybody watched or listened to that, I think you could only listen to it. I ended up not wanting to listen to it, so I just went to YouTube and got the recap from people
Yeah.
that had more time or no job or whatever. So, but like the way that their lawyers went about it was just.
We talked about it in a
Yeah.
couple episodes, and it was trash. The
It was
FTC lawyers just did a
embarrassing,
terrible job.
yeah.
And the judge even called them out on it several times.
Yeah.
About like, you guys stop this line of questioning because it's not relevant.
Yeah, is this
And
for the
then-
consumers?
Because
or
they're
for
government
Sony?
employees. That's why.
Is this for the?
Oh,
is this
God.
for?
Oh,
is this
callback.
for the? Is this for the consumer, or are we trying to defend Sony here?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You know.
And so the way in my brain it worked is when I heard this was going to happen, I thought it was game over. I said, "Oh, they're going to go to
Same.
court. Microsoft is going to lose, and that'll be the end of this merger." And then we saw things happen during the trial over that week and a half, and it's like, "Hey, wait a minute, they might have a shot.
Yeah.
This is the FTC really fumbled the ball on this one." and then they came back today, or was it today? Yeah, it was today, right?
Yeah.
Today.
And the judge said, "I rule in favor of Microsoft." And
Well, read the quote. Where's
I'm
the
going to
quote?
pull that
It
up
was
right
really good.
now. It was
It's
great.
worth reading.
And
So
to be
this is-
fair, this was an injunction to stop the sale. So this wasn't actually part of the to block the merger per se. This was to file an injunction to stop Microsoft from going ahead with it while they deliberated it. And Microsoft welcomed that because they're like, this just speeds up the process for us.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Because if they knew if they won this trial, then the FTC wouldn't have a leg to
Has no
stand
argument.
on
Yeah,
to,
they got no
to
argument
block it.
later.
It forces their hand.
Yeah.
So this is what Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley said in her verdict. It says, "This court's responsibility in this case is narrow. It is to decide if, notwithstanding these current circumstances, the merger should be halted, perhaps even terminated, pending resolution of the FTC administrative action. For the reasons explained, the court finds the FTC has not shown a likelihood it will prevail on its claim that this particular merger in this specific industry may substantially lessen competition. To the contrary, the record evidence points to more consumer access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. The motion for a preliminary injunction, therefore, is denied."
I love how she didn't just stop at they didn't do a good enough job. She also threw salt in the wound
Yeah,
and was
right
like, in fact, Microsoft has shown that their proposal is actually better for consumers.
Yep.
If this were a kid's soccer game, the FTC turned around, started going towards the wrong goal, and
Yeah.
kicked
Yeah,
the wrong
exactly
goal.
what they did.
Own goal.
And everybody just clapped. Everybody just went,
Yeah.
"Yay, Tommy! Good
job."
kick."
So
He's just
yeah,
doing
that,
his best. He's
when
doing
I heard the news that they'd won, Jaron posted it in our Slack. I was like, "Oh, sweet!" And then I started looking into the details, and I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
they really won! Like, wow!" So, but what's interesting about this win for Microsoft is it actually had a bit of a ripple effect in the UK.
Yeah, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? When we were like, how do you think the CMA, which is their community or authorities, what's it called?
Consumer Markets
There it is.
Association.
There you go. I was close. I had
Great
two
job.
letters. So we basically said, I predict that if the FTC
Authority. I think
falls,
it's authority.
it is, yeah, Consumer Market Authority.
job.
If the FTC folds, the UK will be right behind. That's what I said. I'm like, mark my words or whatever I said. And here we are.
Apparently, you didn't mark your words because you can't remember them.
I marked.
Oh,
I marked
got
the
him.
idea of my words, the
The general feel.
gist of my words.
And the
James.
weird thing is, like, the UK is like 5 to 7 hours ahead of the US. So when it was announced in the US, it was like past 5 p.m. over there.
Yeah.
And they still felt the need to make a statement.
Yeah, they made a
Yeah.
statement, and here they are starting to waffle on it. Waffle on their whole They were like, well, if Microsoft is willing, we weren't completely against the deal, but if Microsoft is willing to come to the table and make some concessions to ensure the safety of, the market and making sure that competition. So here we are. They're basically saying, okay, Microsoft, we'll hear you out.
Well, yeah, make another case, and we'll hear you out on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit more than that. There was news after that the Microsoft and CMA have already agreed on a small divestiture to address the regulator's concerns.
Right.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah.
Cool.
And so if it seems like there's already an agreement there. This is from CNBC, but there's no more detail than that. So I have a feeling we'll get more information like in the next day or two.
Yeah.
But what would they divest? Would it be xCloud for UK gamers? If so, that'd be kind of a bummer.
Well, that's the thing is, yeah, the
It's
CMA
kind of a package, right?
the CMA
Yeah.
the CMA finds themselves now in a spot that is between a rock and a hard place because everyone else is on board, and when you have the vast majority of the marketplace is okay with a merger like this, means Xbox and Activision don't have to make any concessions, right? Or at least any concessions they make have been factored into it. Now, if these guys hold out, what Microsoft could do is just pull out of that market completely and leave their
Go ahead.
gamers over there high and dry.
It's sounding like from that language from CNBC, they're doing a divestiture. So are they getting rid of cloud for UK
Yeah.
consumers? And if that's the
'Cause
case, the
that's-
CMA is doing the opposite of what the CMA should be doing.
Exactly.
They're screwing over their own consumers.
Exactly, because their other option, if not pull out completely, would be to do exactly that and make the product worse, materially worse for the consumers in the UK. And if that happens, then exactly what Jaron said, CMA's completely failed at their job. And so if you ask me, what's going to happen is they'll probably, I don't think they're going to be able to, the CMA is going to be able to enforce anything without damaging the consumers. So I think they're probably going to have to either have some crappy little token kind of thing made for them. What was the word they used?
Carve out or
Divestiture.
Yeah, some sort of token divestiture just so that they feel like they won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
well,
Or they could swallow their pride and just
or-
say, oh, go ahead.
Well,
Exactly. Or they
here's
might
the-
do that. That's what they
here's-
should do.
Well, and here's the thing: the CMA is agreeing with Microsoft now that they want to come to the table, and that's been posted out there. The problem is the CMA doesn't really have a way to be argued. Once the litigation is passed, which by the way, the CMA already voted to pass it. It passed. It was the only thing you can do is go to what they call the CAT or the I want to find the Competition Appeal Tribunal. And this is really just a place to go make your grievances. It's not really a legal process to reverse the ruling. And they said that here they say, in order to prioritize work on these proposals because they've agreed to stop litigation, a stay of the litigation in the UK. That's what they're saying. We've decided to stop litigating this while we see if we can save
Fix
face.
it. Yeah, save face, exactly.
And so they've both filed a joint submission to the Competition Appeal Tribunal to this effect. And I wonder if it has more power if both sides come to it. But they're saying that usually that just gets rubber stamped. Like the proposal just gets rubber stamped. It is just a place to go do your grievances and say this wasn't fair, and I'd like it on record that this is why we felt that way. And so we'll see how far they can actually reverse that. Like you said, they want to save face, but they also are fighting a little bit of the UK's legal process.
Maybe it'll be something we don't expect, like you
Yeah.
have to sell the rights to Spyro to Sony or something like that.
Yeah,
I'd be
We
okay
all
with
know
that.
the kind of money Spyro brings in.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
something. And I think you're right. I think it's going to be some token divestiture.
Yeah, but-
something to save face. Be like,
Yeah,
"Mm."
it'll be a token divestiture for sure, but I don't think it'll be. If it's something to sell to Sony, I don't that would look bad too.
Oh, yeah.
because the main point of their argument was that it makes cloud gaming non-competitive,
And it
That
would look
was-
bad to
That was the
Sony.
crux. That was the crux of the CMA's argument
Yeah.
there, and so you might actually be right, Jaron, that the way they do that is they just break off xCloud from Game Pass, you know, and
Yeah,
maybe that's
it's-
what it'll be.
Which sucks.
Let's hope
Like,
it doesn't
that's
come
part
to
of,
that.
That's part of the package. Like, I don't know that
Yeah.
I would want Game Pass. I mean, I don't play a lot on xCloud, but when I do, like, I'm glad I have Game Pass to do it, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
that's the boat I'm in.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll keep following this and see where it goes and keep you updated.
We should
on
do
that.
more. Looks like the end of July.
Okay, cool.
Couple
Couple
is what
weeks.
they're a couple weeks they should have another update. So we'll see.
All right, James, you
Go.
got a game for us? What are we doing here?
I do. Can I get some video game music in the background, please?
He's not ready
I
for that.
really
Thank
wish
you,
would've
Tony,
told
for
me-
doing
I
that in post. All
Really
right.
guy
wish
who
you
So,
would have
does
told me that a
everything.
while back.
nope. This is if anytime you got it, Tony, just roll it on in. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a description. Okay,
I'm ready.
we're not in the same room, spoiler alert. And so I'm gonna trust you guys. You guys are not gonna cheat. Okay. I'm trusting you guys. Okay.
Why would you do
Now,
that?
the game that we're going to be playing is called the Console Countdown. In the Console Countdown, our contestants, you guys, are going to be tested on their knowledge of video game history in a fun
Uh-oh.
and thrilling way, presented with a video game console from a range of different generations. The contestants' challenge will be to guess the total number of games produced for that specific console. That's for your first
Oh.
point.
Okay.
Whether
okay.
it's a classic like the Atari 2600, a mid-generation console like the PlayStation 2, or a more recent console like the PlayStation 5, the contestants will need to rely on their gaming wisdom memory. And then each one of these rounds, I'm going to be giving you a bonus point based on trivia from that specific console. I have 4 questions with 4 bonus points per question.
We're playing Price is Right rules, right?
I don't know. I don't watch daytime
Closest
TV.
without going
When
over.
my mom was gone, I watched Maury.
Oh, you are not the father.
That explains so much.
You are not the father. Goodbye.
Yeah, so Price is Right
so
rules, everyone agree?
Each question is tentatively worth 2 points.
I don't
That-
agree with Price's Right rules. It's closest, higher or
Okay,
lower.
okay.
It is,
okay,
yes,
Tony.
it
Yeah,
is
okay, Tony.
closest,
The guy who
higher,
does
lower.
everything.
We're not going to do one. We're not
I'm the
going to
guy
do
who does everything, and that's what I've decided.
Are we just
Is
like supposed
Owen?
to shout it out or
Swiss
what?
Army, Swiss
No,
Army
that's
guy
what
has
the-
decided.
No, that's what the paper's for.
Paper's
we write it down
for-
and hold it up.
What are you
Yeah,
talking
then you're gonna
about?
hold up.
Where
yeah.
have you
So
been?
each one of the contestants, for us audio people, I asked them to either bring a whiteboard or a piece of paper, and they're going to write down answers to questions.
Right
All
in
right.
your hand,
First up,
Jaron.
James
First
said
up.
you always have paper because you're an accountant. Look at
No, this
Darren.
is
He's
not
like
true.
not
I
into
hate
this at
paper.
all.
do you really not have any paper or whiteboard?
No, I don't. I was
I
researching
counted on you.
emails
Judas.
before the
No.
podcast episode. I wasn't paying attention to you.
Judas Priest.
Dang it. All right. Well, whatever. Okay.
I'll write on
throw
my
the game
phone.
out-
Okay.
You're gonna trigger Tony.
I can't do this anymore, guys.
It's like
All right, here we go.
leading cats.
Oh my gosh.
First up, how many total games came out for the Atari 2600?
The Atari 2600.
Okay, I'm ready.
And,
Got my guess.
and all of these questions, I understand, unless the bonus question stipulates. Hold on. Put it down. Put it down. Don't let the other people see. It's a global release. I'm not talking per North America. It's global for the system. While you guys are writing that down, a fun fact about the Atari: it was released September 11th, 1977,
I think I'm way
in
too
North America.
That's not very
Bonus
fun.
point question: while you guys are writing that down, if you want to take a stab at it, is what is the best-selling game on the Atari?
What's it called? I know this.
2600?
I know this. I know this.
The
What's the name?
Atari
It's the Dragon
was
game.
best known for being one of the first mass-produced video game consoles that gave the home consumer arcade-like control over their television, with the joystick, with the knobby pad, all of the button mashers.
The rotary
It took you
dial.
to a completely different place. All right, so Tony, you're up first. Let's see what you got. So for total games produced, you got
853.
853, and then what did you say is the
Adventure. That's the name of
Adventure.
the game.
that's a great guess. That's a great guess. So Tony, you guessed 856.
3.
853. Jaron, you're up next. What did you get for total games?
That says 2,500, but it's backwards.
2,500.
We tested everyone's mirror but yours.
And
wasn't paying
and
attention.
what did you say is the best game? The most popular?
Nothing, because you said it was optional.
Yes, I did. Okay. Here, Tony,
Well
Landon.
played.
Gosh dang it. What do you got? 900
and I said Maze because I couldn't remember the name of the adventure.
Interesting. And Owen. 150.
Oh, you're
150?
way low, bud.
This
Yeah,
isn't
what did
Price
you-
is Right
you wanna
rules,
take a
Owen.
guess?
Can't bet a
Breakout.
dollar.
Was Breakout on the Atari?
Yes.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I will tell you that all of you were wrong on the bonus question. It was Pac-Man. Pac-Man was the correct
yeah,
answer.
fair.
The Waka 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 Man
The
himself.
old Pac-Man.
And in terms of who was closest, I'm gonna have to have the math guy weigh in on this because I don't math well. The total number was 470.
Wow, I
games.
was way off.
So
I
it's
was
between
way off.
Tony and Owen. Who's
Yeah.
closer?
I think Owen
Tony
is.
had
I had
853.
853 and Owen had 150. Oh, Owen wins. That's
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Owen wins. Owen gets the point. Good job, Owen.
I take back my insult.
This is the best
Owen?
day of my life. Oh,
right.
I just beat all the gamers.
Now that you guys
Thank you.
now that you guys understand how the game works, the next console, how many total games do you guys want to guess came out for the SNES?
The SNES.
The SNES, the 16-bit
What's the fun fact of
home
the
video
SNES?
game console.
Well, I'm thinking.
Concentrate on the number, Landon. The 16-bit home video game console came out in 1990 in Japan and 1991 in North America. It's best known for repopularizing the Italian-American character Mario and his brother Luigi. And for a bonus question, so give me, the main question is, how many games total came out for the SNES?
Yeah, that's the main question
However,
for every one of them.
How many games specifically came out in the North America market?
Let's just do the one question.
Okay, yeah, let's just do the one. Okay, how many
Okay.
games
Same
total
number
came
for
out?
both.
I like
I feel
that.
like that's two of the same question almost.
Yeah, I don't like that. After I said that.
Okay, I'm ready.
I've learned.
Who's got it?
I'm ready. we show it all at the same
Let's
time.
do Owen first, because Owen won. 250.
250.
Oh, hey, well, you're
I like the
super wrong. I'll tell you that right
consistency.
now.
It was a
Landon,
toss up
what do you
between
think?
not writing a new number at all. So
25. All right. Tony, what'd you get?
1253.
Well, 53. And
Ooh.
Jaron.
I decided to only do numbers that read the same both ways.
nice.
Nice.
Drone.
Next it'll be
808.
8008.
Yes.
So the Super Nintendo, which was the first, like I said, 16-bit console that came after the original Nintendo, came out with 1,756 games, giving Tony the point. for that one.
Man, that wasn't even close.
I just
Oh,
like
I
them
was-
on
that
the
was
board. I
close.
don't even care. I don't even care. I'm just glad I'm on the board, you know?
But you know what? Landon, you would have taken it had you have given that guess for the North American market, because they came out with 721 games in the North American market. Specifically, Japan really loves their Nintendo. Third question.
Yes,
Well, that was a
This
fun
one-
game, James. Thanks.
This one I'm really counting on Jaron to
I-
understand and to get this
Oh.
one right. How many games did the Sega Dreamcast come out with at launch?
Oh, it's like
At
At
launch?
launch?
At
Or sorry,
launch.
in its lifespan. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I meant to
Well, I
say
mean,
a
the numbers
spiller.
are fairly similar anyway because it was only around for a year or two.
You'd
I
be
hate you.
surprised. So the Sega Dreamcast came out November 27th, 1998 in Japan.
That is
and
incorrect. The Sega Dreamcast came out on 9/9/99.
Yeah, in North America.
Oh,
If you would let me
I
finish
jumped
and
the
you would
gun.
concentrate
That was-
on writing your
You
numbers.
know what? That was my bad. That was my bad.
What system's this for?
professionals.
What system's this for?
Sega Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
Oh,
The best
And-
system that has ever come
That
out.
nobody
is
ever
ahead of
knew.
its time. Owen?
And
Just saying, it was
Okay.
the
Okay.
best system nobody ever knew.
for the bonus point, how much did it cost at launch
Oh, I know this one too.
in North America?
I know this one.
Bum, 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 bum,
I think I know
bum,
this
bum,
one.
bum,
I'm
bum.
guessing.
All right. So for this one, we are going to start with Jaron. Jaron, what did you get?
Uh,
150.
150. And
And-
I wrote that backwards.
Yeah, I'm impressed. That's a good looking
Yeah.
five.
Pretty good.
That's
yeah.
a really good. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
good.
And then I didn't know how to write 199 backwards, so it's
199.
blank.
Okay, cool. And then let's go Owen next. Owen, what did you get?
Yeah, I put 20.
And
Dang it,
did you
Owen.
want to take a
I
guess?
owned
for-
more than 20
You
Dreamcast
took
games.
my joke. I put 17.
All right. Well, we know that Tony put 17.
And I put I put the price at 200, which is
Yeah, 199 for the price for me as
Oh,
well.
I probably should have gone like 80. Oh well.
All right, and 123 and 600 for
600.
Landon.
$600.
It was a long time ago, guys.
All right.
Oh,
well,
are we
I will
accounting?
tell
Are we
you-
accounting for inflation?
No.
Is that? Oh, okay.
Hey, hey,
I will
hey.
tell you, Tony. How many games did you say?
17.
Okay, you're super wrong. Owen, you said 20. Landon said 123. Jaren takes this as the Sega member of this podcast. They came out with 616 games total.
That is
Are
Lifespan
you
of that.
serious?
That is so many more
What?
than I ever
And
thought.
guess what?
Wow.
Shoot.
How many did you play though, Jaron?
You
20.
said
I
199.
played a lot.
I did. Jaron did.
I did.
So you
I
and
said
Jaren get the
200.
point.
Owen
Yeah.
said 200.
Sorry, Owen. You said 200.
Oh.
Off
So
by a penny.
Jaren is leading this game with 2 points going into the last question. So just to recap, Landon still at 0. Tony at actually 2 points now that I'm
They're
looking
tied,
at it.
Tied to
Booyah.
Jaron.
Tie. And then Owen, 1 point. All right.
Boom.
Last but not least, put your Wii pants on.
Oh.
How many games,
Take my pants off.
total
the Wii.
life cycle of the Wii came out?
Oh, jeez.
Billion.
That's right, the Wii. The Wii had a launch price in 2006
Wii?
of $250.
And there was a bajillion games.
The total units sold for this product was 101
Hold on, I have a question. Are we
million.
counting games in the eShop? All games.
Counting all games. I don't know if they counted the games in the eShop. I Googled it. It's the number they gave me. I did
What's
not
the-
fact
what's
check.
the bonus
I'm not a
question?
doctor. What's our? And the bonus question is, this one's a hard one. I don't know if you guys are going to like this one. So the Wii used a surprisingly low amount of power. How many watts? And I'll give you an example. How many? Because I was blown away. This was the thing. Okay, the PS3 used 190 watts of power when you're playing a video game. The Xbox One used between 70 to 120 watts. How many watts did the Nintendo Wii use when it was powered on and playing a game? How many watts of power? Units of power measurement did it use?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm
All
ready,
right,
James.
so
I'm
let's
ready for
start
no
with
points.
Landon. Landon, what did you get?
I guess 8,000 as the number of
8,000?
games.
And 300 watts.
300 watts.
What?
Um,
you know Watts were?
Landon, I'm just going to let you know right now, you're completely wrong. Across the board. Way to limp in. Today was a Make-A-Wish day for you in this game. And welcome. I'm hoping that we get to do this again.
Hey, James.
You're going to do
How
a
many
lot
points
better
did you
next
get, huh, bud? Huh?
I made the game. I'm the winner.
Infinite
My
points
mom
for
says I'm
James.
handsome. Let's go with
Infinite
Tony next. Tony, what'd you get?
I got 2,553 games and
Okay.
53 watts.
Very precise.
All
like
right.
that better.
Let's go, Jaren. Jaren, what'd you get?
That 6,040 watts.
Did you change that after my answer, Mr.
did.
Scribbly?
Yeah, that was
No.
an 8 before. Totally.
All right.
No
Owen, what'd you
cheating.
get?
I could erase this. Why would I just scribble it over the top?
Laziness. Looks like an 8 to me.
That's an 8.
I like
totally.
how you had
That was a
2
6.
games on the end. You didn't round it.
6,000.
You just like, 2.
All
right, how- do you wanna take a guess at the watts?
1,262. What was your watts guess?
13.7.
What was Jaren's watts guess?
Jeez. Okay.
40.
Owen Googles. I'll tell you
What?
that right now.
What are you talking about?
Well, he cheated. No, I'm
I
just
did
kidding. But Owen did take it for the wattage question. It used 14 watts. I mean,
Seriously?
really between like
I really guessed on that number.
12 and 18.
That
So
is-
I
was gonna
won
say
since Owen cheated.
That is super low. Holy smokes.
Yeah, surprisingly low wattage.
Oh, see, I was going
And-
for surprisingly high wattage.
What's this
in my
face?
guess.
I see.
And
I see.
unlike the Dreamcast, which had a lot of games, I was surprised at how few games the Wii had. It had 262.
That's it?
Owen,
Yep.
did you were
So
within
Owen
50
took
or
2
so,
points.
weren't you?
Yeah, man, I'm right there.
Performing
What
a
the
classic
heck?
Owen reach
1,000.
around, coming up from
1,200.
behind.
He cheated.
Takes the
He
game
doesn't
at
have a
3
conscience. We
points.
all know
This
he
guy.
cheated.
I think
An
I
Owen
I
reach
think
around.
Owen is just really smart.
Coming
you know?
in from the back. I heard it. I heard that.
That's the way you like it.
2 points. I'm at 3 now. I think I took the game. With
Yep.
those
So
last...
would you guys like to make these points transferable to whatever the next game sometime in the future that we play?
No.
Well, what if we say no?
Oh,
And
that's
someone
fine.
else
I'll
says
just-
yes.
I don't
then
care.
They get points
Well,
and you don't.
I just go by utilitarianism.
Oh, I
whoever-
said no to the next game. Not the.
Oh,
not-
well, no, the
Oh.
next
That's
game,
fine.
it's going to happen. I
Feels
have
good
the
to
next
win.
one.
I
And
think we're overlooking that I won.
I think Owen wants to quit and never have another game because
I won't.
he
That's the
is
last. That's what
ending
exactly
the
what I did
winner.
with. It's
He's gonna
exactly what I
George
did with.
Costanza.
It's exactly what I did with GoldenEye with my brother. I beat him one time in my entire life, and I never picked it up again.
Tell you
He
what,
beat me 100 times, and I beat him once. And I never picked that game up again. He's tried. He's even tried now that it's you can play it
20
again.
years later.
He's like, dude, it's back. He's like, let's do a rematch. I'm like, never gonna happen. The last game where I won is where that's staying.
Leave it on a high note.
Take that,
I'm
Aaron.
up for another game next time.
Me too. That was fun,
So-
James.
yeah,
Even though
I have
suck.
more games in the hopper.
I
Excellent.
loved it. Since everyone else loved it, I loved it.
That's
not.
better.
I am
Jared. That's better,
undecided.
Jared.
I'm
Turn
neutral.
that,
Trophy attitude.
turn that 8 into a 6. He loved it. Turn that 8 into a
Yeah,
6.
Should have turned that 8 into a 1.
What
Dang
a
it.
cheater.
All right. I think that is the end of this episode. But before we leave, big time shout out to our awesome Patreon backers. Patreon.com/GadgetSpot.
Does he have it this time?
If you donate, he just left it open. If you donate $6 a month or more, you get a shout out on the episode, which Jaron has for us right now.
Thank you to David Broshinsky, Aaron Young, Stuart Lloyd, Wiffleball Tony. They are our ultra special Tech Daddy tier. Thank you.
Thank
Mark
you.
Cope, Blade Runner isn't worth watching more than once. Andy Bird, Be the 8-year-old. King Knight, King Bishop 3, No Name, No Color, Keslow, Eric Steinman, Eric Cruz, Nathan Motzkus, Matt Nelson. Y'all should check out Hendrix Craftsman on Insta and TikTok. Me, Speechless Like a Japanese Video Game, ... Josh Dorius, Dick Messerly, Splinter, Adam, Aaron Faulkner, Joe. A right does not, as a practical matter, exist without any remedy for its enforcement. Ryan M. and Adam Hecht. Thank you, guys.
Thank
All
you.
right.
you.
Thank you so
remember
much.
Patreon people and other listeners that maybe aren't. You get a lot of cool other things too, like
Yep.
Perks.
perks. You know,
You
you,
get
get
the
the,
full-
you get the full episode of
full cut.
arcade, and the in between.
The
right?
in between. This
right.
this week's
In-between.
in between was pretty good.
Yep.
I thought it was funny.
You get access to see weird pictures in the old Discord, super
Super secret
channel.
Discord.
Worth it alone right there.
And then you're if you want to listen to them separate or whatever, you don't get ads, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So
Right there in the Patreons. All right. Thank you so much. That's it. We'll see you next week. And until then, Owen, take us out.
hey, we hope you care.
Oh, one more thing before we go. This is
Thanks, Steve Jobs.
Sorry, one more thing. The Gadget Spot RSS feed will be closing in the next 2 weeks. So if you listened to it off that, go back and find it in the Geek Show RSS feed, Geek Show podcast.
So if they just
podcast
subscribe
there.
to Geek Show, will they
Yeah.
just start pulling us?
Yep, they'll get it all. They'll get it all right there.
Man, what a letdown. That just one more thing was a complete letdown.
Well,
Well,
and
no.
they
All
get
around.
Geek Show.
It was a-
I liked
it.
it.
Was, it was a PSA that needed to happen.
It was a good. I mean, sure, but it wasn't very exciting like most of Apple's.
Oh,
you
no.
know,
no,
one more
no.
things.
Yeah, no.
No, Apple's One More Things aren't that great anymore anyway.
They're not,
The last good one was the iPhone.
that
When was Tony's last good one?
Just now.
Have
Exactly.
I
it
ever
was
had?
fun. It
Have
was
I ever
great.
had one?
Yeah.
No, I don't
he's
think so.
he's batting 100 right now. Wait, is that the phrase?
That's bad.
Batting
Do we
1,000?
have to end the
That's
show
better.
again now? Do I have to
There
say
you
that thing again?
Yeah,
Yep,
you guys
do.
say the thing again.
Owen, take us out.
Hey, we hope you care.
He's so much better at that than you are, Lando.
Yeah,
He's
he
two
is.
for two, man.